Pumpkins, I thought about it and I was like, if I'm about to sit here and do a serious dinner conversation, I can't like do it in this. And then it came up that the topic that I was gonna do was like I wanted to talk about porn and the way porn could be impacting my sex life. It could be impacting my expectations on who I am sexually at all times. And I was like, maybe this shirt cutout is kind of perfect. But what I need you to not do is just stare at my tits the whole time, okay? Like eyes up here, like my tits, like chill out. No, but in a more serious regard, this is dinner. Welcome back. This is where I talk to you with like a little more of a serious tone because I'm a clown everywhere else and I'm also a clown here, but I'm a clown that just wants to maybe like have a little more of like an intellectual dialogue with you guys. And as you can see, this one is titled, Is Porn Ruining My Sex Life? And I bring that title and that topic up because I do think porn is a very relevant part of my life currently, but also in the gay world. I think about how often I watch porn, thinking it's too much, how it's impacting my sexual experiences, and the pressures I put on myself to sexually perform at every second of every day. And I first want to say, I think this can be trickled down into so many different facets of social media. What we see on social media, not just porn, but how we then compare and put those expectations on the rest of our lives. With porn specifically, I think I have grown in an age where porn was so readily available at all aspects. Like from the time I hit puberty, like I started looking at porn at a very young age because I had a computer, a desktop with my family and it wasn't mine. And I was learning how to clear all browsing history and I was like trying to be a fucking FBI agent while moving into like having my own phone and then moving into having an iPad growing up. And porn was always readily available, especially in the gay space. Porn and sexuality is so emphasized because that's so much of what brings our community together. So for me, I started to learn like the aspects and angles of what gay sex should look like, not from movies. That wasn't widespread in movies yet. That wasn't widespread in shows yet, but it was strictly from porn and understanding that this porn accelerated really dramatic level of like what sex should look like, which is like pounding and like should be very physical and animalistic. I sat there and I was like, damn, okay, so I need to like perform that way. I need to be that dominant or I need to be that submissive. Whatever that looked like, I took from porn. And as I started my sexual experience going through my life, I didn't start having sex till I was 19. And the initial moments I started having sex, I was sitting there and I was like, I'm not good in bed, y'all. I was sitting there and I was like, that felt incredible. I was like, that experience for me was incredible, but like, am I vanilla? I was like, am I just like not the one, you know? And then I started working through what those expectations looked like and why I even had them. And it was because I partaked in watching porn way too much. And I wasn't allowing myself to separate myself from the people I saw on screen and how one-dimensional that entire process was. Porn was causing me to look at the experience of sex through one lens, which was it's two nude bodies, just literal like penetration or oral, whatever it was. Sex is supposed to be in like a 20-minute to 30-minute time frame. It should start with foreplay and then move into penetration. And I just had these like expectations and levels of, God, like almost pressure to be able to follow that exact remedy when I brought it into the bedroom. And the reason I wanted to talk about this is because so many of the most memorable sexual experiences I have ever had in my life was when I was in relationships farther away from porn, when I was intellectually connected with that person. I look back on my most memorable sexual experiences and I can like sit there and I'm like, if I took like this frame and like looked back on what that looked like from the outside, it would have looked so vanilla. It would have looked like so tender, missionary style type stuff. And the reason it was so explosive and incredible for me is because like I had the I had the additional layer of sex being an emotional connector for me, which is something I was never taught through porn. I can't name one porn video or anything like that where you were like, oh my God, I really feel like they were like in love with each other. You know what I mean? So then when I started having these sexual experiences with people that I was like, oh my God, I feel like you really care about me. And when we have sex together, there's like not only physical chemistry there's a dialogue going on just interpersonally with one another. This sounds so bogus. Interpersonally with one another called just like chemistry and connection. And I really had to sit there and separate my expectation on sex from the enjoyment I have from porn. I think I am still struggling heavily with separating the expectations I get from porn from my entire sexual life, period. I am still struggling with that to the point where I have performance anxiety. I don't think I have issues with erectile dysfunction, but sometimes I think I'm not stimulated enough with a sexual experience that like I'm not erect. Like I'm being so forthcoming with you, but this doesn't happen all the time. But it's like I've had experiences where I'm like, no, I'm really into this person. I am enjoying every aspect of this, but my isn't staying hard long whatsoever. And I'm like, why that? I'm literally 28. I'm healthy, I think. Why is my not staying, you know? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, it's because, Jake, you're so overstimulated. I don't know why I'm bleeping myself. I kind of fuck with this. Because, Jake, you're so overstimulated by what you see on a screen, you're getting a million different angles. So when you get out of that lens of what's on the screen in porn and take it to real life, you're getting an entirely different experience. So you are actually completely just carving out what is getting you off day to day with porn. And then once you can actually get off with IRL sex in real life, it's like not getting you off because you have these totally different expectations of what's arousing you. And you're letting such a stimulus arouse you rather than like what could be in real form itself. So as the new year has come along, as I start to look at myself being 28, my sexual life, the sexual experiences I have, and what I want going forward, I realized I want to practice exercising porn out of my life. I think there can be times where it's really fun. I think there can be times where it spices up intimacy for you physically. It can arouse you in a couple setting, or you can just get off for the utility and like stress relief of getting off. But I think for me, if I was to say I had a New Year's resolution, it would be to separate myself from the connection I have with porn. I want to get away from that. And I think as a gay man, that could be a little more difficult than other aspects of society. I think there are so many gay men out there that are active members of the porn community. And if they're not active members of the porn community, they're perpetuating very body idealized things that could be considered softcore porn. And it's not any downfall in our community. It is what our community does, and it makes sense because our community is connected out of sexuality, period. So there's an absolute connect the dots with that. But I think what that means for me is I should probably get off my Twitter. I should probably unfollow certain people on Instagram because I know what they're doing for me. They're intoxicating me with like this idea of how their ass looks or how their looks or like whatever it is. And I'm getting on my social media in a really casual aspect and getting aroused for no reason because of the people I'm following. And it's for me personally, possibly taking away from the more important real life sexual encounters I want to have. And I think hopefully I'm not the only ranger out here feeling this way in the porn aspect of the world and how porn is impacting our in real life sexual experiences. I wonder if I'm not the only one having performance anxiety or different aspects or expectations in my sex life when I start dating somebody or looking at somebody as a romantic partner thinking, oh my God, we should be having sex like this frequently, and it should be part animalistic and like part soft and tender. And I'm like, your expectations are wild, boy. Shut up. And why are your expectations that? And I'm like, porn, baby, Twitter. So, Jake, this is for you, but if anybody else needs to hear it, porn is not entirely evil. Can porn, just like any other social media platform, negatively impact your expectations in real life? Absolutely. Learn the balance of separating that out, because you can enjoy social media, you can enjoy porn, but it should not be affecting the way you manage your real life experiences. I think I just fucked it up with saying that. Pumpkins, let me know if you've ever experienced this, or if there's any similarities in your life, or if you don't watch porn at all because of this, or if you feel like you watch too much porn. I think it's something we keep in such an intimate aspect of our lives, but I think we're in a world, in a generation where nothing's as taboo as it used to be, and I would love to start this conversation with you guys. So, Pumpkins, I love you. Thank you again for tuning in to dinner. I will see you on the next episode. Mwah.